Before we start, consider liking and subscribing to support me. Thank you. We all know the traditional version. Europe discovers the world. European powers like Spain, Britain, and Portugal send ships across oceans, land in new territories, and start building empires. That's how we've been taught global history. But what if the roles were reversed? What if Europe was the land that had just been discovered? What if African, Asian, or American empires found Europe, a continent untouched by global trade, far beyond in technology, and isolated from the rest of the world? It sounds like science fiction, but it's a powerful way to think about the effects of colonization. Let's explore what could have happened and what it can teach us about the real world we live in. To understand this scenario, let's look at the world without Europe on the map, or at least not involved in the early stages of global development. In this timeline, the rest of the world is thriving. In West Africa, the Mali Empire is one of the richest civilizations on Earth. They control gold mines, trade routes, and cities like Timbuktu, which has universities and libraries. Scholars gather here to study astronomy, medicine, and law. Across the ocean, the Inca Empire has mastered farming on mountains using complex terraces and irrigation. They build massive road networks to communicate using runners across vast distances. The Aztecs, too, have built floating cities and advanced calendars. Their capital, Tenochtitlan, I don't know if I pronounced that right, has clean streets, markets, aqueducts, and even public sanitation, something most European cities wouldn't have for centuries. Meanwhile, in the east, the Ming dynasty of China is exploring the seas with giant treasure fleets under the Admiral Zhang He. These ships are far larger than anything Columbus or Magellan would use much later. Science, trade, language, art, it's all booming. This is a world connected by silk routes, gold caravans, and vast ships. But there's still one missing piece. Europe. To the rest of the world, Europe is unknown, a dark, forested place beyond the scene, until someone finds it. Now imagine this. In the year 1500, a fleet from West Africa sails north across the Atlantic. After weeks of sailing, they see cliffs and forests in the distance. They land in what we call France or Ireland, and they meet the local people, farmers, herders, and small kingdoms who have never seen a ship like this before. These Europeans have their own traditions, languages, and beliefs, but they've been isolated. There's no paper money, no advanced medicine, no global maps. Most people can't read or write. Diseases like the plague have wiped out entire regions in recent decades. The explorers take notes. They describe Europe as rich in land but poor in knowledge. Soon, fleets from Asia arrive too. Chinese ships anchor in the Mediterranean. Aztec traders built settlements in Spain and Portugal. At first it's peaceful. They offer trade, they teach new techniques, crops to Americas, tools from Africa, writing systems from Asia. But just like in our real history, it doesn't stay equal for long. The outsiders begin to dominate. They take resources, timber, iron, animals, farmland, and they even convert people to their religions. They replace local leaders with governors from abroad. They claim they're bringing order and civilization, the same way Europeans once did. Europe is no longer free. As decades passed, Europe becomes fully colonized. In France, children are taught in Chinese. In Germany, West African rulers impose taxes on towns. In Italy, Aztec priests tear down cathedrals and build their own temples on top. Local languages are banned. European religions are seen superstitions. History books are rewritten to say that Europe was discovered and saved by the empires of the world. The economy changes. Europe now sends raw materials abroad and buys finished products back. Sound familiar? This is exactly what happened in many parts of the colonized world, from India to West Africa to the Americas. But resistance begins to grow. In the forests of Poland, rebel groups form. In the mountains of Scotland, clans begin fighting for foreign rule. Secret schools open up to teach forbidden languages. European identity, pushed underground, begins to grow stronger in defiance. There are uprisings. Some succeed, most are crushed, but the desire for independence never dies. Fast forward a couple hundred years. Europe has finally gained independence, but scars of our colonization remain. Borders were drawn by outsiders, cutting across cultures, languages were lost. Traditions erased, and what's left is a mix, part European, part African, Asian, and American influence. In Paris, you might hear Arabic on the streets. In Vienna, Aztec-style food made with maize and chilies is part of daily life. In Spain, old cathedrals stand next to Chinese temples. And now, Europe faces the same questions that once faced colonized nations in our real history. What does it mean to be free? What does it mean to rebuild your identity after centuries of outside control? Do you return to the old ways or build something new? The story never really happened, but for billions of people around the world, colonization did. It changed everything. By flipping the roles, and by imagining a world where Europe was one colonized, we get a better understanding of how powerful those changes were. Not to shame anyone, but to understand, to empathize, and to learn. So what do you think would happen if Europe had been colonized? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What would Europe look like today? Would it be better, worse, or just different? And tell me if you like this scenario. Be sure to subscribe for more alternate histories, and drop a suggestion for the next one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.